Marshes of Doñana Park. The purpose of this assessment is to recommend policies and management measures that contribute to maintaining or increasing the provision of ecosystem services of the marshes of Doñana Park and to ensure their coexistence with human exploitation. The design includes scope of the problem, assessment and analysis, and recommendations. The Doñana National Park, created in 1989, is located in the southwest of Spain in the region of Andalusia. It has a very large extension and is made up of several ecosystems, including the marshes. The marshes are the most biodiverse and largest ecosystem in the park, with 27,000 hectares. It is a large clay plain, 1.35 meters above sea level, which is flooded every autumn by rainwater and the rivers and streams that flow into it. The water stays there for months, forming an extensive shallow steep lagoon. It is an area of ecological beauty. As water suppliers, the marshes are fundamental for the balance of the entire park. Providing food and shelter, they are an extraordinarily important staging, breeding, and wintering area for birds, fleeing the cold of Europe and the heat of Africa. Around 6 million birds pass through the marshes. 75% of European bird species can be found here. The marshes are home to a wealth of flora and aquatic plants. It also provides habitat for reptiles and freshwater fish, with 22 and 20 taxa respectively, as well as 11 different species of amphibians. What do ecosystem services mean for human well-being? The relationship between humans and the marshes has been very close for thousands of years. The provision of fresh water, both from the surface waters and from groundwater, stands out. This water is essential for the irrigation of intensive agriculture, especially strawberry cultivation, which has been established since the 1980s in the northwestern part of the park. Through fishing, it provides foodstuffs such as shrimp and red crab. Since the 1960s, part of the marshes have been dewatered and transformed into rice field, 25,000 hectares that belong to Doñana. The marshes play an important role in the rainy season. As natural dikes isolate the riverbed from the rest of the plain, they purify water and absorb large amounts of CO2. Water purification, flood regulation, recreational and religious services are non-rivalness goods. Provision of services like fresh water and food are both rival and excludable goods. A license is required to fish and extract water from the marshes. Population of urban centers around the park, as well as regional populations, are beneficiaries of these services. Water is essential to supply 200,000 people in the region's urban centers. Tourism, catering, and hotel industry employs 50,000 people. Furthermore, the marshes have become a fundamental element of the identity of the region. They have given rise to a whole culture rich in traditions. Every Pentecostés Monday, thousands of people go to the village of El Rocío on the edge of the marshes to pay devotion to the Christian Virgin of El Rocío. Among the local and regional population, farmers, fishermen, and livestock breeders are to be highlighted. For them, the provision of water is essential. Thanks to the water, irrigated agriculture and rice paddy farms are possible. The agricultural sector, especially strawberries, represents 76% of economic activity. More than 105 cubic hectometers of water are withdrawn for agriculture every year. Moreover, in the region we found the most important rice area in Spain, yielding 9,000 kilos of rice per year. The water also supplies the cattle, very present in the marshes. 169,087 inhabitants make up the area of socioeconomic influence. Tourists also take advantage of water. The marshes are an outstanding site for sustainable tourism and satisfy leisure and recreational needs. The number of visitors has increased significantly in the recent years. Thanks to supporting services, tourists can enjoy biodiversity. Furthermore, there are a number of stakeholders, including national and local government, environmental organizations, state scientific societies, biodiversity and geodiversity researchers, European Commission, UNESCO, and tourism enterprises. The marshes are threatened by multiple factors that compromise their services. In recent decades, there has been a significant decline in the availability of surface water and groundwater due to overexploitation for the irrigation of strawberry crops. 4,700 hectares of strawberry crops are illegally irrigated, and 1,000 wells extract water illegally. Overexploitation is also due to the supply of water through underground obstructions for local urban centers, whose population has increased significantly in recent years. The marshes have lost part of its natural water supply due to construction of dams and walls. The Guadiamar River was cut off from the marshes, and the discharge of water from the Guadalquivir River and the Ruthina stream has been reduced. Pollution coming from pesticides used on crops and from deficiencies in wastewater treatment in surrounding cities is another threat. What does it mean for services? Marshes now receive only 10% of the water that used to come naturally from the aquifer. This is causing increased salinity and affecting water purification. 3 of the 5 water bodies are considered at risk, affecting the provision of fresh water. The risk is so great that conservation of the marshes in the future cannot be taken for granted. Due to the reduction of water, there has been a decrease in the number of breeding bird species. This may also lead to a reduction in tourism. Pollution has led to increased erosion and sedimentation. There are several policy measures to address these threats. There are restrictions on fishing to ensure compatibility with environmental preservation. In 2014, the regional government of Andalusia established the Strawberry Plan, which aims to control the use of water in the marshes, reducing the surface area of illegal irrigation and closing illegal wells. Also, Doñana 2005 program aims to recover the water supply of the marshes by recovering the waters of the Guadiamar River through hydraulic engineering techniques. With this, it intends to ensure the quantity of these water supplies and halt degradation. In 1980, UNESCO declared the Doñana National Park, including the marshes, a biosphere reserve, and in 1994 inscribed it on the World Heritage List. In 1982, it was declared a wetland of international importance. Doñana has been a special area of conservation since 2012. Some of the ecosystem services can be economically valued. Travel cost method can be used to measure the value of tourism, analyzing how much people are willing to pay to travel to see the marshes. In 2016, the number of tourists reached 288,637. The amount of money tourists are currently paying is around €30 for a 3 to 4 hour visit. The market price method can be used to value fishing and rice cultivation. For example, the total amount of rice cultivation activity estimated by total revenues is €120 million per season. The productivity method could be used to value fresh water for irrigation, estimated its economic value as an ecosystem service that contributes to the production of strawberries. Currently, €400 million are earned in strawberry exports. The replacement cost method could be used to value water purification. €142.1 would be needed to improve water quality artificially. The substitute cost method could be used to value fresh water for the supply of surrounding population. The future. Andalusia will gain almost 500,000 inhabitants in the next 15 years due to immigration. On the other hand, a steady increase in average temperatures is expected. Rainfall could be reduced by 6.76%. All this will cause water supply needs to grow. In Scenario 1, current trend of overexploitation for irrigated crops, water theft, and pollution of the marshes continues. As a result, only 1% of Doñana marshes remain flooded. This has a major impact on the well-being and development of the population, as water supply and fishing services are lost, and so is the capacity of the marshes to generate jobs for local population. Increased water demands cannot be met. The marshes cease to be an essential habitat for birds, and the survival of the entire Doñana Park is endangered. In Scenario 2, a more sustainable use of water is made, and a natural supply of 200 cubic hectometers is achieved, compared to currently 75. Illegal wells are closed, and irrigated crops are limited. The marshes are saved from desertification. The economy and well-being of local population are protected, and so is the Doñana Park. Provisioning regulated and cultural services are protected. The cost of investing to mitigate pressures on biodiversity, currently valued at €12.9 million, are saved. The marshes continue to purify water and continue to store heat, which is essential with climate change. €74 million per year from tourism and culture are still earned. There are several measures to be taken. It is essential to tackle overexploitation through the elimination of 50% of the area of crops irrigated with groundwater, closure of all illegal wells, and strict control of pumping. There must be a commitment from all the administrations involved, collaboration of scientific bodies, water users, and civil society. Demand-side saving policy should be established, reorienting demand towards low water use. Natural surface water supply to the marshes should be restored. To this end, it is essential that the Doñana 2005 plan continues, in particular the Guadiamar rivers to be reconnected with the marshes. Agrochemicals in agriculture should be avoided and urban planning restricted. Urban wastewater in surrounding areas should be treated. Education on biodiversity and its conservation, environmental volunteering, and training and employing people in the management of sustainable tourism services could be useful.